Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christopher and today's video is going to be really different. I'm actually kind of nervous to shoot it because I haven't done anything like this on this channel before. I've been wanting to for quite a while and I figured, you know what, let's just dive right in, see what happens. You don't get better by not trying. So today is going to be my very first storytime video. I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited all at the same time because I'm going to tell you guys my favorite story, and it is how Andrew proposed. But before I do that, you have to see this. I have to count it in because I have to like work myself up into it. I hope you guys love this. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. I have an intro video. I love it so much. I love it. I hope you guys like it. I did not make it. I have nowhere near that kind of talent, like not even a little bit. So if you guys want to see how that little clip was made, I will leave some information down in the description box below. Please make sure you check it out. And yeah, here we go. This story takes place back in 2015. It was June the 8th. I will remember that day forever. Andrew decided that we were gonna have a road trip that day and he wanted to take me out to Banff, which is pretty common for us. We really like going there. There's a lot of really great stuff and a lot of really beautiful historic buildings and a lot of folklore around the area. Back in June of 2015, we both used to have Sunday and Monday off. So that was kind of when we had the most time together because we both have really busy schedules, and back then it was worse. So we did our best to always make sure that those 2 days were ours. We didn't really make plans with other people, and if we did, we always made sure that those plans were together. But on that day, we kind of just wanted to have some quality time and just hang out together and have it just be us. But he'd been acting kind of weird for the last couple of weeks, and I kind of figured something was up. And when he said he wanted to go to Banff, I was like, okay, he's kind of giving me some vibes right now. I feel like we're either going to get engaged or he's going to break up with me in like the most beautiful place in the world. And I was actually like legitimately worried that I was gonna come home single. I was like, engaged. Please, dear God, let him propose. Because he's amazing, he's awesome. I just love him so much. Oh, if you haven't seen the video that I shot with Andrew, I will put it somewhere on the screen now. So we got into the car, we got ready to go, we stopped for coffee and breakfast like we always do. We always make sure that we like fuel up before we go so that we don't get too like hangry while we're there. We got some coffee, we got donuts, we got some like breakfast sandwiches, and we are ready to go. It takes like an hour to drive to Banff, sometimes a little bit more if we're doing like sightseeing and stuff on the way there, which we kind of did this day, but it really only took about an hour. He drives pretty fast. We stop at a lake and we take some pictures, and he's getting super romantic at this point, and I'm like, oh, I got you. We're driving through the mountains and we're just singing like as loud as we can to all of these love songs, which is so... It's not uncommon that we're singing in the car because it's really all we do while we drive. Like, we're always singing. If you ever drive by us on the highway, make sure you look over because we're probably like belting out an Aretha tune or something. But this day, we were only singing love songs, which he was asking me to play. So we're driving towards Banff and I'm getting really excited. And we're getting closer and closer, and he misses the turnoff. And we go to Banff a lot, so when he misses the turnoff, I kind of have this moment where I'm like, did he miss the turnoff or did he miss the turnoff? Because if you keep going, you head to my favorite place in the world, Johnston Canyon. So we drive for like another, it's like maybe another 20 minutes, half an hour, to Johnston Canyon, which if you have not been there before, you must go. It is the most beautiful place in the entire world. Like, I'll try to explain it so you can kind of see sort of why I love it there and why he brought me there to do this. When you get there, there is like a lower area that's really touristy, and there's like a creek that goes through it, which is the aftermath of a giant waterfall that has carved a canyon into the mountain. There's a little store and a restaurant that are like the same building, and the store is like, it's where I buy all of like my trail mix and stuff that I accidentally drop on the ground by this giant rock sculpture where cute and fuzzy little chipmunks live. And I know that my comments are gonna fill up with, you shouldn't feed wildlife, they aren't gonna learn to fend for themselves. And that's true, that's totally true, but if you've ever seen them, you would feed them too. They are so cute and I can't even handle it, and I'm just thinking about them right now and just oh, they're so cute. I mean, they're cute. The hiking trail, it turns into like a bridge, catwalk sort of thing that is bolted onto the side of the canyon, and you can walk all the way along it, and then a bunch of little trails kind of branch out from that. One of the trails leads down to a waterfall that's called just the Lower Falls, and then there's another one farther up. That one's called obviously the Upper Falls, and the Lower Falls have this like cool rock tunnel cave thing that turns into almost like an observation deck where you're standing almost inside the waterfall. Like you're super close to it. You're right above the basin that it falls into. The Upper Falls, you go onto just basically a bridge that is looking at this giant amazing waterfall, and the canyon around it kind of looks almost like it's crying. Like you can't really see where the water is coming from. It's the coolest thing you will ever see. If you ever get a chance, like, you must go. So we pull up and we notice as we're getting close that there are a lot of cars kind of on the street. It's not really uncommon to see cars on the street, but there are like dozens of them. It was so busy. We're looking around and we can't find a parking spot, and the parking lot, which by the way can hold like hundreds of cars, is completely full. Completely full, which is obviously why people are parking on the street. So Andrew does like a lap around the parking lot and then comes back out. Luckily someone's pulling away at the same time and he takes their spot. And now I'm just excited because the car is parked and it is time for me to go into my favorite place in the world. And I jump out of the car, he gets out of the car, we start walking toward the beginning of the trail, and he says, hang on a second, I think it's gonna get kind of cold. I'm gonna go back to the car really quick and grab a sweater. And I said to him, well, like, why don't I come with you? I don't want to just stand in the middle of the road. And he will not let me come with him. He walks back to the car, opens up the trunk, and I was like, why are there clothes in the trunk? Like, if we ever have extra clothes, we put them in the back seat and we just grab them when we go. Like, why does he have extra clothes in there? And he's taking forever, by the way. And he keeps like looking over at me to see if I'm looking, so I'm just like, okay, well he clearly doesn't want me to know what he's doing, so I will like go over and play with that squirrel or something. Like, feeling like I'm freaking Snow White or something like that. He finally comes back, and this is like 5 minutes later, but the car is only like 20 feet away. Like, it took way too long for how close the car was. And he comes back and I'm thinking maybe he went back to like get the ring and he doesn't want me to know. So I'm looking around and he's wearing really tight jeans, which I was really okay with. So I'm like trying to check him out, mostly to look at his butt, but also to like see if I can see a little ring box anywhere or like the outline of a ring, and I can't. I was like, okay, well I guess maybe it's not gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, it's still a beautiful day. Enjoy it as best you can and just have fun. So I try to put it out of my brain and we start walking up toward the trail, and it is packed. There are so many people here that I think to myself, even if he is planning on proposing, there are so many people around here that he may chicken out. And I'm looking at all these people kind of like, it's gonna be your fault. You too. It's not their fault. They're just hanging out. I'm just crazy. We keep walking and we head out toward the Lower Falls, which is the first part of the canyon that you hit. And there are so many people there. We can't even get into that, like, the little rock tunnel that I mentioned before. We can't even get near that to get close to the waterfall. So Andrew asks me, like, do you want to just keep going and then maybe check on the way back and see if it has less people there? So I'm like, yeah, let's keep going. So we get back onto the like hiking path thing. It's like walking along the edge of a cliff sometimes. And he's leading me toward the edge. And he's like, hey, come down here. I see a pathway. Let's see where it goes. And he grabs me and like tugs me. We start walking down and I see the path that he's talking about finally. There's like this maybe 15 to 20 foot, almost like polished looking rock that's in the water in the middle of the canyon, jutting out over top of this small little waterfall. And it's gorgeous. I couldn't even express to you how beautiful it was. But we did take my very favorite picture of us ever on this rock. It's this one. Like, I love it. And like, look how beautiful he looks. Like, oh. We took that on that rock. We're standing almost in the water. And we're there for a little while and another couple showed up and like ruined the mood. So Andrew grabs my hand again and like tugs me back up. And we go all the way up and we go to the end and we're at the Upper Falls, and this is like 20 minutes later. Like, it's really not a long hike to do the waterfall hike. There's more above it that takes like all day, but the waterfall really only takes all in all like an hour. So we walk all the way up and we're at the Upper Falls now, and this thing is huge. And remember, it's June in the mountains. And if you've never been to the Rockies, that's when things are really starting to melt. So the water levels are super, super high, and like the water is crazy. It is just gushing, and it's so fast and so ferocious, and it is like nature at its finest. It is really, really cool. The water is just like everywhere. Like half of the waterfall is frozen, but the part that isn't frozen is loving life. And it's just spring everywhere, and everyone's having a blast, and we're like taking pictures of ourselves and like selfies, and we're helping other people take pictures of themselves. And some lady handed me her phone and asked me to take a picture of her, and instead I took a selfie. That's not funny. We normally don't stay at the upper falls. Like, that's not really, I don't know what it is. Like, it's like the hike that's the fun part for us, not the destination, which is like super corny, but like we love the walk. But that day we stayed at the waterfall for like 15 minutes just staring at the water. It was beautiful. We turn around and we start walking back, and he says, do you still want to stop at the lower falls? And the lower falls are kind of my favorite part. First of all, the rock tunnel, it's such a cool formation, and the fact that it's a natural formation that goes toward the waterfall is just mind-blowing to me. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely, of course I want to stop there again. We walk all the way back down the trail, and as we're getting closer, we're noticing that there are less and less people, and I'm like, this is awesome. I might actually get a chance to get into this waterfall and just have a blast. We keep walking down the trail, and we get toward the lower falls, and there is only one couple there, and they are on the observation deck as we're walking down. So there's still like 5 minutes before we even get inside the tunnel. As we get closer, I'm thinking, okay, by the time we're near the tunnel and we're on the pathway that leads to it, they'll probably be on their way out, and then I can have that waterfall all to myself. And I was super excited, and it happened. As we got closer, they ducked through the tunnel and they were leaving. So we went in, and remember what I said about the upper falls, like the water was absolutely crazy. The lower falls weren't even remotely frozen, and they were just like having a day. Normally the falls are like, we'll say maybe 20 feet in front of the observation deck. This day they were like on us. Like, we were soaking wet. It was so much fun, and it was so cold, and as soon as I got in and the water started hitting me, I just started like dancing around and giggling, and I was having so much fun. And Andrew reaches over and touches my shoulder, and I turn around to look at him, and he's like just staring straight at me with this huge dopey grin on his face, and he just says, I love you. And I said, I love you too, and then started dancing around in the water again, completely oblivious to the fact that he was very clearly trying to say more than that. So he taps me on the shoulder again, and I turn around and I'm like, I love you. And he goes, I love you too, and I can't imagine what my life would be like without you. And I stopped breathing. He is getting down onto one knee. Even though I have been looking and I could not see it anywhere, he holds up my ring. I will show it to you. This was my engagement ring. This is the engagement ring. He pulls out that ring and he says, and I will remember this forever, I didn't think it was possible to love somebody this much. You make me so happy, and you make me laugh so much, and I can't imagine my life without you. And he says that all completely normally and with a straight face, but like with a little smirk, and I am like melting on the inside. And then he does this cute little voice and goes, will you marry me? I was like, absolutely, I would love to marry you. He's my best friend. There was no chance at all that I was gonna say no. But the entire time, I'm kind of like scooching to get in between him and the water that's behind me, because he's a little bit of a klutz, and by a little bit of a klutz, I mean he can trip over nothing. So as soon as I saw the ring, the only thought that I had other than, oh my god, he's proposing, is if you drop that ring into the water, I'm gonna throw you in after it so that you can get it back for me. So I was like, probably shouldn't kill him on the day that he's trying to propose, so I'll just stand here in case he drops it, I can catch it. But he didn't, it was fine, the ring got onto my finger, and some lady that had been watching on top of the canyon started clapping. Luckily, it was at the end of the day, because I do not remember anything about the drive home other than calling my mom and texting my best friends, and just like being so giggly and so excited, which didn't go away, ever. Like, ugh, so happy. Later on that night, like, he took me out for dinner, and it was so romantic, and the server was awesome, and it was like the whole night was just excited for us. It was perfect, and My favorite story in the world. Oh, and that was the end of it. Alright, well, I guess that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, and if you want to see more videos like this, let me know by smashing the thumbs up button. Comment down below. If you're new here and you haven't already, go ahead and click right here to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every single Sunday, and then when you're done that, go ahead and click down here and I can link you to some of my other videos. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next week. Bye.